Okay, podcasters, your host Chris Trott from the Global Sports Marketing Team, and I've finally been let loose and landed our Team TaylorMade flagship guy, long-standing staff player and all-round rock-solid icon of the modern professional game, Dustin Johnson. Welcome to the Team TaylorMade Podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Knee op, how you feeling? Let's cover that first things first.
Feeling good. Everything's gone very well with the knee surgery. Been doing rehab now for 8 weeks. So right where I'm supposed to be, maybe even a little ahead of where I should be. So everything's good. Cleared to hit, cleared to do pretty much everything I want. So yeah, it's all good.
And this is a standard thing for you. I mean, you said you'd gone through this before. Even the same, this operation that you've had and the recovery, it's all a standard procedure.
Yeah, I had the same, pretty much the same I had the same operation, a little different spots on my right knee.
Yeah.
8 years ago. So yeah, I've been through it before. It's it's a slow process. So, the most important parts at the very beginning, just making sure you don't do too much, making sure you keep your leg, got to keep it elevated and ice it at all times, and just to let it heal, just because where they had the scope, the spot that it is, it's very important to do that. And then now it's just all about training, getting the strength back, getting the speed back, getting the muscles all firing, like they should. And but I'm very pleased with where it's at right now. Obviously I got 4 weeks until the Hero, and the golf game, I haven't practiced a ton, but the swing feels good. I've practiced kind of sporadically the last few weeks, but now since I'm 4 weeks out, I'll really start ramping up the practice and starting to get back into it.
It was good to see you disciplined, hitting the shots earlier when the product was unveiled. Sim Driver was out there, and you were still recording the best ball speed, the best numbers, the best distances. Obviously, Rory kept stepping in and making you step up, but to me as the outsider, it just looked like everything was flowing as is.
I still got it.
100%. I mean, with 4 weeks left, there could be even more speed.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously I've been training a lot. I haven't practiced, but I have been training. So, I have trained, so I've kept my body in good shape. Other than I've gained a little bit of weight just because I can't do any cardio.
Yeah.
But I'll fix that here in the next 4 weeks. But I've put on a lot of mass, and I'm very pleased with where my body's at, and leading into kind of, for me, the start of the season, which will be the Hero and the President's Cup, and then my first tour event will be Hawaii.
When you hit sim for the first time and shape in motion, you feel it, you see the speed out the gate, does that give you the thought, when I'm fully back, this could be even quicker again?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, my speed will get a little faster. And I was very pleased with what I saw this morning on the range, hitting the sim, and the driver, the shape of the shots, the feel, and definitely the speed. My swing speed was pretty high, even though I feel like I'm not 100%, but, I was still getting very good distance, very good ball speed, very good carry numbers, and my swing speed was pretty high. So I'm very pleased with where everything is today, and it will get better.
Yeah. When we look at these shoots and we put you guys in a competitive environment like that, you look at Rory and yourself, and in all fairness, I recognise as a big golf fan sitting there, I'm witnessing the two best drivers in the golf game nuke it down that range. When you watch him hit, he's obviously more of a slight fellow than you are. Is there anything, I know you want to beat him, I get that, and I know you got the different levers, and I watch you hit it, and you do hit it out there, but is there anything that you're looking like, wow, how's this little guy hit it so much speed?
Well, yeah, obviously I've been playing against Rory for a long time now, and he's an unbelievable player. But yes, you do, I do watch him, and for, like you said, I mean, he's fit, he's very fit, but he's not super tall or anything like that. But I mean, he generates a ton of speed and hits it a long way. And when we're out there, even last year when I was healthy, he was healthy, and we were hitting, we were still neck and neck. Yeah, I barely beat him. But yeah, I mean, it's very impressive to see. Obviously, we swing it differently. There's a lot of things that are probably very similar, through impact and but yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun to watch. I mean, he's a very good driver of the golf ball. A little different shape than I hit. I mean, he hits kind of a high draw. It doesn't really curve a lot though. I mean, it's pretty straight, but it's a fairly high ball. But if I want to hit one far, I mean, I hit it up in the air too. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch him hit it.
You come to these shoots and, you say now you're a big part of Team TaylorMade. You've been with us for so long. We've all been around you. We're all very comfortable in your presence, and it feels vice versa. What's changed at the shoots for you over the years? Obviously, the product's changed. But what about your role in the shoot, going from you were the Matt Wolf and the Morikawa, and now, like I say, I don't throw it out there lightly, you're our flagship guy.
Right.
How does that feel coming to a photo shoot?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I play a different role, but it's fun to be out here with the younger kids, and obviously they're very talented, very good players. Wolf's got a lot of speed. Morikawa still, he has speed, and he's a great player. So, just to be able to spend some time with him, get to know him a little bit better. Wolf, I've played some golf with out at Sherwood, and I knew him before he was on tour. Morikawa I haven't really spent any time with, so just to spend some time with him, I mean, it's great. And obviously, what we do, like this morning, hitting balls and then, hitting wedges and putting and all this stuff, just to be around them, to hear how they think, to how they, what they're, looking at when they're hitting a driver, and, how they decipher stuff. It's interesting because, you learn everybody does it a little bit differently, but you can always learn stuff from good players. And just listening to them, watching them, how they do things, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's cool to see you embrace that role. I saw that you're getting on very well with Wolfie, and to see that growing, it's something that could be good. And sadly for a European, it could be something that we could see in a Ryder Cup. So we'll move on. That's not something I want to see.
Yeah, well, unfortunately,
it's gonna happen.
You will see it, and hopefully you don't like it.
Yeah, hopefully it's a blue number and not a red.
But lately it hasn't been that way.
So 2019, another super consistent season, becoming the fourth player to win 12 consecutive years on the PGA Tour, joining Nicholas Palmer, Woods. Amazing names that I throw out there. I run through your year, having a look at it, thinking things that I want to ask you, and 2 second-place finishes, Masters and the PGA, they stand out for me. And I remember watching that PGA and just clutch in the moment, absolute clutch. What do you take from 2019? What do you take from me throwing out like Nicholas Palmer, Woods? You're in there, and then 2019 as a season.
It was okay. I'm not very pleased with it. Yes, it was good. I won, had a big win at Mexico. Contended in the Masters and the PGA. Didn't play great in the U.S. Open or the British, but for me, I wasn't consistent enough. I didn't win enough, to my standards. But for me, it was more, felt like the game was there. I was playing well enough to win more, playing well enough to contend more in the majors. I felt like, even though maybe the stats didn't show it, my putting stats, for me, I didn't feel like I was putting well enough. Even though I was working on it very hard, but the more I look back at it, I didn't drive it as well this past year. Obviously, in the tournaments, I was playing well, and I drove it really good. The PGA, I drove it very nicely on a big golf course where the fairways aren't very wide, and you had to hit the fairways there. I felt like I hit a lot of really clutch drives that, I had to hit. But all in all, for a season, I wasn't pleased with my driving. Yeah, I had good days, and I had good tournaments where I was driving it in the fairway, but the shape of the shots weren't to my liking. I wasn't hitting it consistently enough. And, when I don't feel like I'm driving it well, then obviously eventually it gets frustrating, and it starts to wear off into the rest of my game, and it puts more pressure on the rest of your game, whether it's on the putter or the wedges or the irons. So for me, it was a bit of struggle. It was a bit frustrating, all year. Augusta on the weekend, I played unbelievable. I hit so many good putts, and it was like nothing would go in. So it was a little bit frustrating. Same at the PGA, sitting there on 16, I hit a great drive, I hit a great second shot, I hit a great chip shot, I hit a great putt, and made an easy 5. And I feel like I hit 4 really good shots and I make a 5. It was just things like that were really frustrating. Where, if I parred that hole, I put a lot more pressure on Brooks coming down the stretch, and probably going to a playoff. But it was just little things that throughout the year that I felt like I wasn't really sharp all year.
But we're talking 1 or 2 or 5 shots throughout a season had been different, and the outcome would be different, and you've still had a stellar season.
Yeah.
So how do you change for next year? Is it all in the driver? Look, if I get just a few things mentally so my driver's good, I'm ready to go.
For me, a lot of it starts with the driver, because obviously you hit the driver. For me, I mean, I hit a lot of drivers, whether short, long course, I'm still hitting the driver a lot. But if that's going correctly, if I'm not manipulating, then it works down through the game. Where this year it wasn't more the driver, I felt like I was manipulating the driver swing. So when I was driving it really good, my irons weren't as sharp.
Yeah.
When I was hitting my irons really well, my driver wasn't as sharp. So there was a disconnect somewhere in there, and that was the reason that I was a little more frustrated this year, and I don't feel like I was as good as I should have been.
So Bucky Coe is a good player, works for TaylorMade and R&D. We had him on the podcast last season, and he was in Memphis, and he said one of the key guys to speak to is you. He likes to talk to you specifically about paint lines, and he comes to you to get feedback on that. How do you think we did on the paint lines on the sim?
It's very good. Very, very straight. I feel like we've had some really good ones, and we've had some that have not been good. And last year I struggled with the paint line, and now that's a big deal for me. The driver was great, but when
it doesn't sit, you can't get comfy.
Right. And so it was, I understand why they do stuff, and they explain it to me, and and so I get it. But so we worked in the later part of the year. Obviously it was way later in the year, but worked on on some paint lines, even just with a marker on the club, and it helped. But at that point it was I had a couple tournaments left, and so paint line for me is very important, which I think the look of a club is important to everyone. If it doesn't look good to you, doesn't matter how it performs, you're still going to struggle with it.
How important is the history with a golf club? Because the fairway woods have got V-steel in them, and I believe as an amateur you played a V-steel. Am I right in that?
I did. I played it in college.
Good. My research still works for me.
Yeah.
But V-steel, going through the turf, the interaction, was that something you were happy to see back in there?
As long as it performs, yes. I love to see it back in there. So I feel like obviously our company is the best company in golf, and we always have the best woods.
Yeah.
And everyone makes pretty good irons, but I feel like we always have the best drivers, fairway woods of any company out there, and so I've always been very pleased with that. And hitting the woods this morning on the range, I was very happy with the 3 wood, the 5 wood. They were they performed great, and obviously it's the first one we've hit, so maybe tweak a few things on them, but for first coming out, first swings with them, I felt like they were very good and performed very well.
I think you're a modern day true professional. Again, I say it at the top, but we look at it and it's like the golf bag has to be a certain way, the alignment stick has to be a certain color, the putter cover, even when we bring out different covers for tournaments, it's got to be a certain way, the look of the club's got to be a certain way. And initially I was like, jeez, what's this guy dude, like, really? But I kind of get it now. It's for you got to show up a certain way, right? And the club has to look a certain way. Is that fair to say about you as a professional?
Yes, absolutely. My golf bag has to be exactly how I like it, or it bothers me.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like a putter cover, if it doesn't match, I won't use it. And it's just how I am. I don't know. It just drives me crazy. Looking at my bag and seeing that doesn't make one bit of difference, but I don't like it when I look over at my bag. So I won't use it.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of with everything in my bag. Clubs. If something doesn't look right, I'm not going to use it.
No, I was cool with it. It's just when we brought all the putter covers out last year, I was like, really? Dustin said that? And then obviously you get to learn it's a big deal. And I hear white T-pegs as well. They got to be white T-pegs, right?
Yeah, I don't. It's just
another thing.
Yeah, it's just a a quirk that I have. Yeah, I got a white tees. I don't know what it is.
So I think you knew that I was going to go here, but this partly brings me to deal with what our little relationship we have going on over putters. I mean, you knew I was going to go there because you work the crap out of me when it comes to putters. So I need to know. I must be rubbish at what I'm doing. I mean, you're keeping me in a job here. What? You got to help me out here. Like, I got to find the look. I got to find where it's going. So on that, and on the topic of putters, you've seen Truss, right? Have you seen it already?
I have. I have.
Give me some music to my ears. Answer me honestly. How do you think? What do you think of the look? It's a blade now, if you want to go there.
Right. No, I obviously, when you first pull it out, you're like, okay, this looks kind of funky. But when you start getting into the technology and the reason for it, it makes a lot of sense. And then when you start putting with it, you can feel it, and you can see that, yes, it's a lot more stable than a normal blade, but it still has roughly the same look. You can't see the actual truss or whatever it is when you're looking down at it, and the performance of it's been great. Obviously, I maybe hit 10 putts with each one, but I can see how it works, and I can tell the difference. And I think it's a very good, different approach to a putter, where you can keep the same look, but then you still get some technology behind it. So I think it's going to work very good in the golf world.
Are you going to keep you busy with that?
Probably.
Definitely.
Don't I usually?
100%.
But hopefully my goal this year is to start the year with a putter and finish the year with it. Unless someone steals it.
If it's not the one I want you in, I'll probably steal it. So, is there anything, though, in the psyche? Putting, people can get stale as well. Is there anything in there that, like, it's nice to change it up?
Well, so I like to try stuff. I do. I like, when we have new stuff or new putters or what, I love trying them. And sometimes it's good to look at something different for a little bit, but generally I go back to everything that was in my bag originally. But I still like to, I'm still a golf nerd. I like all the new equipment. I like the new putters. I like trying them all just to see what, you're always trying to find something better than what you got. So, but generally I tend to revert back to what I was previously using. But, I think this new technology in these putters are, because I've been trying for a while to go back to my blade, but I just don't get the
release.
Well, no, I just don't get the consistency with it that I do with the Spider or mallet. So it's been, it's hard for me to switch when I don't feel like, I don't feel like it's not better. So
when I leave these tournaments, and Keith, who I know is a good friend of yours, the VP of Tour Operations, he and I talk, and I think about the conversations, believe it or not, you and I had about putters, and I relay it a little bit sometimes to amateurs, and we never really move much on your loft. West Coast, East Coast, we change the loft a little bit, but it's always in that half-degree increment. For an amateur, how important is loft on a putter and lie on a putter, and how can they maybe find what they need if they don't have the access to superior talent like myself to fit them? How do they find that? Or maybe not in the case of you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, putting with a putter that fits you is very important. Having the right lie, having the right loft, because, everybody's going to differ, especially with loft, based on hand position and, where their hand position is at impact. So, generally guys are going to be between 4 and probably 2.5, 2, depending
on where they're playing.
But knowing what loft you need. And, I think it's very important to go somewhere and get on a putting camera or, talk to a professional that knows, kind of a little bit about putting that could help them. But, yeah, having the right lie angle is a big part of it, just so you can hit the ball in the center of the face and hit it in the center of the face correctly. So I think it's very important. It's just like a driver. If you're using a driver with the wrong loft and the wrong shaft, you're probably not going to hit it very good.
Yeah. No, it's critical.
And two, if you think about it, putting is, what's tour average? Probably 29 or something putts per round.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, that's pretty much
30,
half.
30 odd percent.
40%
of the shots you hit.
It's 40.
Yeah, as a tour player, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
a
very
big deal.
it's very important.
When you were out with rehab, I saw online that you put a lot of time in for the Hurricane Dorian relief effort. What did that entail, and how important was that for you to be involved in that?
Well, obviously it was something that I could do, to help. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Bahamas. And through the years, I've made friends that live in the Bahamas. And so, it felt like something that I needed to do. Obviously, I'm in a position where I can do it. So, for me, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to help them out. Obviously, it's, in some parts of the Bahamas, it's complete devastation. There's nothing left.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was something small, but still, it means a lot to them. And I go over to the Bahamas and spend a lot of time. So it was something that I really wanted to help all my friends around here, everyone, pretty much all the people I know are doing something to help them out in some way. So it was just, for me, it was very easy to do, and it was something that I really wanted to do.
And going forward, is there anything more that you see involved in that in the future that you'd want your legacy? Are you even thinking about foundations and things going forward?
Well, I have my own foundation, but yeah, I'm going to continue to support. There's a lot of my friends and people that I know that are running relief efforts for the Bahamas. So I'm gonna continue to support all of them and continue to do what I can.
It's cool. Let's see if you continue to nail these speed injected questions. So similar to season one, little different though this time round. Rapid fire, and then we'll go from there. Torrey Pines or Beth Page? You got good memories of both, I guess.
Yeah, Beth Page.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Would you rather lead the tour in strokes gained off the tee or strokes gained putting?
Putting.
The one course you could play every day for the rest of your life.
Baker's Bay.
LeBron or Kawhi?
LeBron.
Window or aisle seat? I guess it's been a while. You can sit right in the middle, can't you? The way you fly.
Window.
Number of career hole-in-ones?
On tour?
Career. I'd give you amateur before. And practice.
13.
Jeez. Good effort. What would you shoot lefty? I know this has been a big conversation with you in the past. Left-handed. You still holding yourself to below 100?
I can break 100.
Break 90?
If you let me practice for a week, yes.
Favorite TV or Netflix show right now?
I watch too many. I've been on the couch here for the last 8 weeks, so I've got a lot of them I'm watching right now.
Okay. What's the best? What's the go-to?
Probably the best one I've watched in the last couple months is Yellowstone.
Yeah, it looks good. Mallet or blade? And truss does come in a mallet as well, so you could have the stable of the truss with a mallet if you wanted to. Mallet or blade?
Mallet.
Beach or the mountains?
Beach.
And the one shot in your career you wish you could have a mulligan on?
I've got a few. I've got 3 that stand out, yes. The second shot there at the Open Championship on the par 5. The Whistling Straits on the 18th hole.
Yeah.
I'd like to have that shot
line,
back. And then, I mean, I don't know. My man over here, Wink, was saying Chambers Bay, but I don't feel like I hit a bad shot, so I don't know which one I'd like to have back.
Yeah. It's an interesting question. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want any of them back. I'm fine.
It's funny that you say that because that was Tiger's answer as well.
Yeah.
Like golf's golf, right? I mean, it is.
Exactly. It happened. There's no mulligan. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, if I sit here and think about it, I'm sure there's plenty of them, but I've also hit a lot of good ones. So,
DJ, it's awesome to see you this close up. It's awesome to see you hit these good shots, and it's awesome for TaylorMade to be connected with it. And obviously for myself, we joke about it, but just to play a small part of all the tour team to try and help you. It's fun. It's fun to get your feedback. We take it so literally. I mean, the paint lines are changed because of what you say.
The paint lines are great. And you can see it on the new drivers. It's 100%. Very straight. They sit very good. They look amazing. So, well, I appreciate you guys listening.
we appreciate listening to you. Thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed listening to Dustin Johnson. This was his podcast. He can be found on Instagram at Dustin Johnson. You can get myself capturing all these changes that happen to DJ's putter as they go on Instagram at Trottie Golf. Obviously, the TaylorMade handle at TaylorMade Golf. And this podcast can be found in all the usual places. Please check it out. Give us 5 stars. Put some questions on there. Maybe you got for DJ. We'll get him in next time round. Thanks for listening. DJ, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, buddy.